divided by H superscript plus, where H superscript plus is the number of gram atoms of hydrogen ions per liter. I know it says liter. If the pH of tomato juice is 4.1, kitty, 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 what is the concentration of hydrogen ions? Let's just start out by writing down the formula. pH equals common log of 1 divided by H superscript plus. It clearly says the pH of tomato juice is 4.1. So we can put that in for pH, 4.1. Since there's only one variable left, I'm just going to assume that's what we're supposed to solve for. Let's check to make sure we are. What is the concentration of hydrogen ions? Which is basically what it says here in scientific words up yonder. So we're just trying to solve the equation for H. Need to get rid of the log to get H by itself. What's the inverse of log? Anti-log. That's what we just learned today. So we apply anti-log to both sides of the equation. On the right side of the equation, anti-log and log are inverse operations, they cancel. On the left side, if you were to put that into your calculator, don't do so. If you were to put it in, you would get a number that you have to round. We don't want to round till the last step. So we're trying to get H by itself. So we have anti-log 4.1 equals 1 divided by H superscript plus. If we were to multiply H superscript plus to both sides of the equation, I'm trying to get rid of that fraction so we can get H by itself. And then divide both sides by anti-log of 4.1, you'll have H by itself. Since it's now by itself, you can put this in your calculator. You should get a pretty ridiculous answer. It should say something like 7.94 and then e to the negative 5, something like that. That e to the negative 5 is your calculator's way of saying scientific notation. This answer is really small, so we're going to write it that way. 7.94 times 10 to the negative 5. Finished. We have no idea what we did, but we did it, and we got an answer that would make sense to a scientist, which I am not a scientist. Question? The JP Truck Company produces diesel engines for trucks. Find the number of hours required to build the 45th engine, assuming that the learning rate is 75% and it took 48,000 hours to build the first one. If we go back to the first page, we skipped over this. Formula for learning curve. Let's write down, no, you don't have to memorize it. Let's write down both of these formulas, this right here and this right here. And then we'll try to figure out what the variables mean. U sub n equals k times n to the b. And we also had b is common log of r divided by common log of 2. U sub n is the number of hours of labor for the nth product. This question is asking, find the number of hours required to build the 45th engine. That's what the question's asking. So the question right here is U sub n. So we're trying to figure out. I go back to this formula again. It says k is the number of hours for the first product. K is hours for the first product. Let's see what that is for this problem. It took 48,000 hours to build the first one. 48,000 hours, that's k. One number left, 75%. Let's see what it says about that number on the first page. It says R is the learning rate. That's 75% for this problem. Which we're going to write as a decimal 0.75. So we know what all the variables stand for. We can plug the numbers in and see what happens. N is the number that you're currently on. Let me see what it says that on the front. Yeah, it says U sub n is the number of hours of labor for the nth product. So it wants to know how many hours it's going to take for the 45th engine. So n is 45. So we plug these numbers in. We're going to have U sub 45 equals k, which is 48,000 hours, times n, which is 45, to the b, and b is this logarithm. It's a log of 0.75. 0.75 was the learning rate of 75%, divided by log of 2. We really can't simplify that. So you need to put that whole thing in your calculator. And this is how you should type it in. You should type in 48,000 times 45 caret parentheses log 0.75 divided by log of 2. What did we get? Should have got 9,888. Okay, here's the problem. If anytime your calculator starts a parenthesis, you have to know where it's going to end. So it automatically puts one here, and it automatically puts one here. Agreed? You have to close it. You have to say, I'm done with that log. So the 0.75, we're done with it. When you get to the 2, you're done with it. Is anyone still having calculator problems? So it will take 9,888 hours to build truck number 45. It took 45,000 hours to build, 48,000 to build the first one. It took less than 10,000 for the 45th one. You get better the more you do something, is the point. You have problems? 4,800. Anybody else having calculator problems? You see this beginning parenthesis here? Yeah. That shouldn't get closed till the well, you don't actually need that one. You didn't get this one right. This parenthesis here shouldn't get close to the end. You have a left, left, then you have a right, right. See what I'm saying? You still have problems? Because they're exactly the same? They're not exactly the same. Well, why can't I see what you typed in?
I don't know. My calculator doesn't let you.
Your calculator's got problems.
You can watch me if you'd like.
There's no exponent. You don't have an exponent.
Oh, the carrot. I forgot the carrot. Wait.
Holy shnikes, I don't know what's happening now.
Mine doesn't have a carrot thing. It just says that.
Yeah, then it has to be typed in there. You didn't do an exponent. All right, let's get this finished so you can use your time here. See what time it was. I can't see it from my angle. You wasted all this time. We could have been doing this problem. The company, we're talking about the same company, pays its workers an average of $11.50 per hour. How much less will the labor on the 45th engine cost than the labor on the first engine? So you got to figure out the total labor for the first one, figure out the total labor for the 45th one, and subtract those. Labor for the 45th one. You're going to take how much money you're paying them per hour times how many hours. They're making $11.50 an hour. They worked 9,888 hours. Put that in your calculator. You get $113,712. For the first one, still they were getting paid $11.50 an hour. It took 48,000 hours to build it. $552,000 for the first one. So the difference between those two would be the difference between those two numbers. $438,288 is the difference between the two. That's it.